What's up, everybody? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com. Just came back in from vacation in Florida. Super happy to be back, but we had a great time as a family. I had this piece waiting for me in the mail at the post office. So, as you can see, I've got gloves on, y'all. So this is a big deal, right? Let me open this up and then I will describe it and tell you a little bit about what we're looking at here. Because this, my friends, is history. It is baseball history. Maybe not necessarily on the front, but I would like to pan up and down this so you can see what it is. Frank Leslie's Illustrated Newspaper, November 4th, 1865. This is perhaps the most important Civil War baseball era woodcut ever. Okay, so this is what's considered by many to be the holy grail of all baseball woodcuts. First of all, let's talk about what a woodcut is today. The way that they would do this is they would actually draw the players here, and then you would take somebody that would actually take a block of wood and literally carve in the drawing into wood. And there would, of course, you have like all the, you can see the wood grain and everything if you look up real close to these guys. The detail's amazing. All this, which is really neat, the cross hatching and all that. So when these pictures were carved into the wood, you would apply ink to the wood and you would stamp the wood onto paper. That's how they would mass produce pieces like this. Now, this is a particularly rare piece, of course. And by the way, I mean, first of all, let's just appreciate everything that's going on here. So this is Civil War era baseball history right here. A few months prior, President Lincoln was assassinated. You have this baseball game going on here. And look at these guys, by the way. They look like they walked right off of the field of the Civil War, right? Especially that guy here. These guys are crazy. So, but I mean, it's just so cool. This is a completely different time period, obviously. I mean, we're looking at what, over 1.5 centuries ago? Mid 1800s, Civil War era, just so cool. You have the names here. And so now the question is, why is this piece in particular so incredible? Why is this history? Well, let me tell you. It is all because of the man that you see memorialized at the very top of this page. Do you have any ideas who this is? This kind of flattens out a little bit here. His name is James Creighton. Who is James Creighton? Well, let me tell you about him real quick. First of all, on The Simpsons, Mr. Burns made reference to him, which was great on Homer at the Bat. That was fantastic. I had zero ideas who this guy was like a year ago, by the way. Also, if you don't know who this guy is, perfectly understandable. Most all baseball fans don't. James Creighton was a pitcher in a time when pitchers would throw underhand. When they threw underhand, the ball was meant to be hit. And so James Creighton, he did things a little differently. He flicked his wrist and found a way to get the ball movement to be a little more different. And batters had a problem hitting it. And he was apparently a really good hitter as well. He drew crowds and everything. So the first star of baseball, of our sport that we love so much, this guy right here. And so the question is, why don't we know about this guy? Well, you think about this. This was a good 20 years before baseball cards were mass produced and came out. So there's no such thing as a real baseball card back then. They made a few things that were like that, and I think that a lot of people would argue that there were a few baseball cards made back in that time period. But nothing like Old Judge or Allen Ginter that were like mass produced or anything. So there's nothing really to memorialize this player back then, other than basically what you're looking at right here. So there's a few cabinet photos I think that are that have surfaced over the years or wherever, but you'll never see those. So as far as collectibles of baseball's first star, you're looking at it. This is it right here. Now this this issue, this woodcut, was created in 1865. James Creighton ended up passing away in 1862. So he was such a big deal. He was memorialized in this woodcut 3 years after his death. Now, the interesting thing about his death, by the way, is there's an incredible story about how he swung so hard, and look this up on Google, there's all kinds of information about it. He swung so hard, and he hit a home run, that he actually damaged something internally, ruptured an organ. He ended up dying like a day or two later or something like that. And so just a fantastic story of James Creighton, our first star player of baseball. Now, the another interesting thing of this piece is this guy right here, Henry Chadwick. Now, it doesn't say his name, and he's considered to be the father of baseball. Google him as well, Henry Chadwick. You will. We have a lot to be thankful for to this guy when it comes to baseball development and record keeping. And this is his first known piece, at least, of how he was immortalized on paper as well. So this is basically kind of it. So I think there are probably newer things of him. So quite a bit more of Henry Chadwick than James Creighton. In fact, you've probably heard of Henry Chadwick. There's much more likelihood that you've heard of him than you have James Creighton. This is his earliest known piece, as far as I know. This was disputed for quite a while. They didn't know if this was Henry Chadwick or not. But the interesting thing is like, I think it's because a lot of people just had this piece. Because I have the entire issue, I was able to do something interesting that a lot of people that don't have this, weren't able to. And it's turn the page and see what it says on the back. I tried to find it, guys, but I couldn't. The writing was like so small. There's so much of it. But anyways, it confirms somewhere in here in this issue that this is in fact Henry Chadwick. Anyways, very cool piece. This is hugely underrated only because people don't know about this piece. And this is kind of what I like to go for. Are pieces that are hugely monumental to our sport and really our hobby that people don't know about. And, so and plus, it's not every day that we're able to take a look and actually feel, a Civil War era baseball piece like this. It feels special, feels really special. It's something that was not created to be multi-million-dollar piece or, several $100s or whatever. It was meant to just kind of showcase baseball, baseball in its primitive state. And when it was really just getting off the ground, like I've heard that during this time, this is really when it became the national pastime. And so you have these guys that have, been shown maybe for the first time ever, their likenesses on nationally publicized piece like this. Nationally, I'm not really sure if that's nationally or not. But I mean, just such a neat piece here. It says, great baseball match between the Atlantic and Eckford clubs of Brooklyn at the Union Baseball Grounds, Brooklyn, ED, October 13th. With portraits of leading players of the principal clubs of New York, Brooklyn, and Newark. Yeah, it's interesting. They don't say, it says Brooklyn instead of Brooklyn. But you have it says Knickerbocker, Gotham, Eagle, Empire. I mean, it's just a really neat piece. Nice glimpse into what life was like back then. Especially the sport that, we have all these instant replays, and we have billions of cards that were produced to be rare, manufactured scarcity, so to speak, the one of ones, this, that, and the other. This is a true survivor. This wasn't meant really to survive. This just, this is a piece I'm very thankful that we actually have to document this, because if everybody threw away, this woodcut, we wouldn't really have a whole lot to go off of James Creighton, or to know what he looked like even, which is really, really crazy. I mean, we've got Cap Anson and King Kelly. Those are two big names that people associate with as the first big superstars of baseball. And in the way that baseball is played now, they pitched overhand and much different than what we see in front of us here. But when it comes to the sport of baseball, James Creighton, you know, this guy right here, he might be the one that was mainly responsible for people to attach to a certain player, like America did. So anyways, I just got this in, and this is, believe it or not, my second piece. I might actually sell this one or trade this one. But, you know, because whenever you see something like this, you got to pick it up. I mean, it's just, it's an incredible, incredible piece. So anyways, and ultimately, I just wanted to make this video to kind of educate everybody what a woodcut is, if they didn't know, as well as be able to show off a piece of Civil War baseball history. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day.